Okay, now we are for the last question. Question number 3. It asks us to find some data set for the cluster analysis. lakukan cluster analysis menggunakan hierarchy cluster dan k-means cluster. Okay, this is what we did. Data describe. Let's work on this step by step. Once we load, we know we load the data, we explore the data. As result is shown in the page below. Not here, not on my face, down there. I will show you here. Yeah, here. This is the code. We have it. And then we go to data pre-processing. Now we pre-process the data. Not to forget, we dropped out the target variable since it is not used for clustering. Gitu. Okay. Hierarchical cluster. We're going to run the k-means cluster. More importantly, k-means clustering is performed with 3 clusters, and the resulting labels are stored in k-means labels. As the part of assignment, it is expected to implement the hierarchical cluster. Okay, we have the both in here. I was just confused about how it can k-means and then hierarchical. No, it is both in here, clusters. So hierarchical cluster is performed using the word method itu. And then resulting linkage matrix is used to plot the dendrogram. Okay, let's explain the output. In here, individual data points are merged into cluster. Each data point starts as its own cluster. Each data point, can you see it, starts by its own cluster. As we move up the dendrogram, clusters are merged step by step until the data points are grouped into a single cluster. The x-axis represents the individual wine samples since dataset itu tentang wine. Best wine, bad wine, or what the chemistry it has, or cluster of samples. The y-axis represents the distance, this similarity between the cluster being merged. The dendrogram visually depicts how individual wine samples are merged into cluster. Okay, how they are merged into cluster. Initially, each sample starts as its own cluster. You can see it right. Yeah. Okay, that's great. We don't have much more problem in here. And then similar samples are iteratively merged into larger cluster. It is getting larger as it is becoming singular. And then the height of the merged yx indicates the dissimilarity. Can you see the distance in here? It indicates it shows indicates the dissimilarity between clusters. Taller merges represent more dissimilar cluster, while shorter merges represent more similar clusters. Okay, the k-means cluster. The scatter plot produced by the k-means clustering result shows how the wine samples arrange according to their chemical characteristics. We can distinguish between different clusters, determine how much a cluster overlaps, and so on. The clustering, as you can see in here, they gathered in here much more on the point y and x, point 1, minus 1 and 1, feature 1, feature 2. These are what we are talking about. The yellow color is feature 2, and the blue color is feature 1, and the 0, 1 is k-means clustering. Okay, so the clustering of the wine samples according to the first 2 features is displayed in this scatter plot. In here you can see, and it is simple to see how the clusters are distributed and separated because Each color corresponds to distinct cluster. Okay. Well, they are well separated. Initial to two features effectively capture notable variation among the wine samples. Jadi ini samples ni semuanya, and it shows the distance between them, so it's showing the similarity within a cluster are indicated by densely packed cluster, whereas dispersed clusters. That's all we have got. Mohon maaf, aku mau ulang lagi, mohon maaf kalau ada yang lebih atau kurang. Saya sudah coba semuanya sendiri, dan saya mengharapkan ini sudah bisa kasih tahu sesuatu tentang metode beberapa di sini. Terima kasih banyak untuk waktu kalian, dari dosen aku, teman-teman aku semua. Last video. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.